Hi, hello. Welcome to back to school season. We're going to do a Q&A today because I love doing a Q&A during back to school season because, we get all the questions. And so I hope you're comfy. I hope you have something to, drink while we're here. This is coffee. I know it looks weird. It's color changing bug. So it gets purple when it's cold, which is great because it is really hot outside. Let's get into some music teacher questions. Now, the first question actually was not something that was on my Instagram, which my Instagram is just Becca's Music Room, but I got it in real life from someone in my county asked me this. So I wanted to include it. And so she was saying that she was having a hard time with students like not listening and not sitting correctly and just like those like chatting, like those really basic, like paying attention kind of things in class as she was trying to teach. If you are having a problem with that, you need to go back and review rules, procedures, and all those kind of things. The beginning of the school year, you really want to make sure that you are honing in on those things. So for me, when I'm planning my lessons, lesson number 1 is like getting to know you. Here's what the music room is. Here's how we sit. And yes, we talk about how we sit in the music room, even with the kids that I taught last year. And we'll do it again when I've taught them for 2 years. Like, I continue to review that because it's been a while. They might have forgotten. And if you don't say it, you can't assume that they know. Please do not assume that these children know anything. Hopefully they do, but don't assume that they know things because that's when you get into trouble. So that's number 1 is just like, that's my first lesson. My second lesson, and something fun. I always try to have a game on the first day. My second lesson is really hard on like rules, procedures, all of that kind of stuff. How can we be kind to our friends? How are we respectful in the music room? How are we responsible? All of those kind of things. Then the third lesson, if I feel like they are like good to go, then we'll start reviewing rhythms. But really for the whole first month, like we are talking every single day about what we do in music, because if you do it at the beginning of the year, then you don't have to do it for the rest of the year because they'll actually get it. And also do not let the standards slip, because if you don't require it at the beginning of the year, they are not going to do it. All right. That being said, actual questions from the actual Instagram message where I asked for questions. Mastering in middle. Nope, sorry. That's the wrong one. Somebody asked me a question that was not music teaching, so I want to make sure I have the right one. All right. Saint Timmy said, what is your favorite music game you like to teach and play with your kids? There's so many good ones. I think my all-time favorite, though, would have to be Grizzly Bear, which I use with the younger kids. So this one goes, Grizzly Bear, oh, Grizzly Bear is sleeping in a cave. Grizzly Bear, oh, Grizzly Bear is sleeping in a cave. Please be very quiet, very, very quiet. If you wake him, if you shake him, he'll get very mad. My little Grizzly Bear over here wanted to include her say in that song. She is like circling me at the moment. So that one is really fun. The way that I play it is I have the Grizzly Bear laying down in the middle and we hike around in a circle, and then at the end we all have to freeze, and if you're moving then the Grizzly Bear will eat you and you are out. So that one's really fun. I would probably say that's my top one. I think this is LP Skater. Is that what this is? It says, what are your classroom management tips for older students who don't like music? First off, especially if you already know them, have a chat about why they don't like music. Because it could be different things. Like there was a student I had last year that she was just kind of like shy and just so introverted. Like she did not want to do anything that required, like moving, singing, talking, like pretty much anything. So that's going to be very different than if they're like, oh, well, this is baby music. So there's going to be different things that go into that. So that would be number 1. Number 2 would be make sure that you, and when you talk to them, ask them what things they might want to do. And so like, do you want to play the instruments? Do you want to play games? Like what? And ask them like, hey, I would like to make this fun for you. What can I do to make this fun for you? Now, are you going to make it fun for them every time? No. And you might even say, I teach a lot of kids, and so I have to change things up so that everybody, gets a chance to participate, but you do need to participate in everything. And that's a big thing. It is a requirement that you participate in everything. If you are not participating, like we're calling home, it is a big deal if you are not participating in my class. So that would be number one. Number two is have a variety of activities. That way, if someone doesn't shine in one thing, then they have a chance to shine in something else. Especially with those older kids, if you can incorporate like popular music and different things like that, that helps engage a lot of students. It won't get you everybody, but it'll get you some. And then also just really trying to get, try different things. Like I had some students that responded really well to like we did like music and art unit, and that worked really well for some kids. I had some students that did really, really, really well doing like competitive music games where team versus team, and you have to play the rhythm correctly, and if you play the rhythm correctly you get a point, and like different things like that, that normally weren't like into music really enjoyed things like that with the competitive edge. So you just have to like kind of keep trying things and see what will kind of hook them in, and when you find something, see how you can incorporate it more. There's not a one size fits all for that, unfortunately, so you're just gonna have to try things, talk to the students, and sometimes you just gotta level with them and be like, look, I know this isn't your favorite. I'm sorry. But unfortunately, like in life, we have, classes, and remind them like, this is a class, this is a grade, this is something you have to do. Like, this is why we're here. So, worst comes to worst, level with them and be like, we gotta do this. All right. Haley Ritchie asked, any pre-K recommendations? Feeling so lost since I'm going to their classrooms. I didn't even teach kindergarten for years until last year. I taught kindergarten again. This year I am teaching pre-K. I only have them for 15 minutes, which I'm very excited about because like I had them yesterday. We came in, we did a movement activity, we sang a song, and then they left. And that was great. But if you're looking for suggestions, First Steps in Music and from like Fire Robin. Also, he has a First Steps in Global Music that has a lot of really fun things in there. That's really great. Don't be afraid to repeat things. You can do the same game 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row. It's okay. You can do the same songs over and over. It's actually better for them if you do. So don't be scared to repeat things. And I would say the biggest thing with them is changing the pace. So stand up, do an activity, sit down, do an activity, stand up, do an activity, sit down, do an activity. Don't stay in anything for too long because they are like puppies. So there we go. Jen Olson Art said favorite ukulele resources and teaching ideas. So when I was teaching ukulele, I didn't do it last year, but what I find to be the most helpful is ukulele play along videos, because you can have the kids playing and you can walk around while they're playing and you can help the kids out. And that's really helpful for me. Bernadette Teaches Music has a bunch that have like rhythms with like strumming patterns and different things like that. I think the other one I liked was Ukulele, maybe. But yeah, so those were good, and just using those was like massively helpful because it just really gave me the time to like walk around and check everybody's. Other than that, I don't really use other people's curriculum, so I don't really have like certain curriculum, and I don't have a lot of ukulele resources, so I wish I could be a little more helpful on that. Who does ukulele? Is it Music and Motivate that does ukulele? I feel like Music and Motivate does a lot of ukulele stuff, so you could check that out. Maybe. And if y'all have suggestions, leave them down in the comments. And also if you have pre-K suggestions, leave them in the comments. I will need them because I do have to teach pre-K. I mean, it's not for long, but I do still have to teach them something. So I wish I was more helpful on that one. Kuwaiti Girl 3, I don't know that that's right. I do apologize. Said, what is a good resource with CDs for Christmas concerts and spring Easter concerts for 1st through 3rd? I don't know a lot of people who are using CDs anymore. But personally, when I am looking for concert repertoire, my two favorite places to look are, first off, Music Play Online is a online curriculum. My district buys it for all of the music teachers, which is amazing. So I use them first, mostly because I already have it. And so it's almost free for me because like we're already paying for it. And so I like them. They have a lot of videos to go through there, and they have a lot of their pieces. They'll have the accompaniment you can download. They'll have like lyrics with the accompaniment you can download. They have like lyric videos. They have a lot of teaching stuff in there, and they also will like color code it so you can see what grade level it's best for. And then Music K8 is also one that I really like. And on there they have a subscription, but I just purchase things like individually. So I'll buy, one here, one there, different things like that. But those would be my top for the little kids because again, that comes with like the accompaniment track and the, other things. And I want to say Music K8, you can still order like the physical CD, but I don't know if that's true. So don't quote me on it. But I know I used to have all the Music K8 CDs at my old school because then they upgraded my computer and they were like, oh, look, we brought this updated computer. And they were like all so excited. And I was like, where do I put the CDs? And they're like, oh, there's no CD player. And I was like, my entire curriculum is on CDs. What do you want me to do? And they were like, so that was fun. But also you can buy an external CD drive. By the way, I do have one that I bought for that purpose. But now I just download things digitally and it works out just fine. Liz Rinkin said, how many hours did you spend planning a week as a first year teacher versus now? Tips, please. It's kind of hard to say. My first year teaching, I grouped my lessons. So I only did 2 lesson plans. So I would do K through 2, 3 through 5. And then I would kind of differentiate from there, but I wasn't doing a lot of different lesson plans because it was just too much for me, frankly. So again, I would differentiate. So we were doing, we were all doing a rhythm activity. We were doing different rhythms based on what they knew, but it was all the same thing. So I didn't have to prep a lot of stuff. I would say like year 2, year 3 is when I started making all my stuff and like using my Google Slides and like doing that kind of stuff. And so it started taking me a really, really, really long time because I would make all of, every single song we were doing, I was making slides for, and I was doing this, and it took so much time. Nowadays, it doesn't take very much time at all. Maybe it's so hard to say because sometimes I have a hard time just sitting down and doing like 1 week at a time. Usually I'll sit down and be like, all right, here's like the next 4 weeks, what we're going to do. So I would say maybe it takes like an hour. If I just do 1 week, I could probably get it shorter depending on what's going on. And then, if last week I went for the next 4 weeks, then this week I already know what we're doing. And so it makes it a lot easier that way. And then some weeks like this, like for next week, I rewrote my lesson plans 3 times. Like I wrote them and then I was like, no, I don't want that. And then I did something else. And then I did something completely different. So here we are. But yeah, I would say it definitely, even if it doesn't get less time, it definitely gets easier because at the beginning you don't have the stuff. And so it's really hard to figure out and you don't have the experience. You don't have all that backlog of lessons. Next year, if this is your first year, next year, you'll already have a whole year worth of lessons in your head. And then anything you find is extra. And so it makes it so much easier. But as far as tips go, I would say number 1 is save everything. If you're making Google Slides, save all the Google Slides. If you're making lesson plans and you're typing them out, save them all so you can refer back to them next year and you don't have to do that like work again. 2, you don't have to make everything. Like I went bonkers bananas on the creating train because I like that and I think it's fun, but you don't have to do that and you shouldn't. Nowadays, especially, I force myself. I'm like, I can only add 1 new song per week and I can only do 1 new activity per week. So if I'm going to make a new Go Fish activity for my kids to play that needs to be printed and cut and laminated, no one else is getting anything new. Everyone else is using old things because I'm not going to do a whole Go Fish and also a whole bingo activity. Like we're only doing 1 thing at a time and that helps with the prep a lot. And so, yeah, only 1 new song. So that way I know what most of the things are. I know where I'm going. Again, if it's your first year, that's maybe not possible. And number 3, like use things other people made. Go watch my videos, go to blogs, go on Instagram to other people. I love Home Sweet Music Home has a lot of really fun like movement activities, especially. Music and Motivate has a lot of really fun activities on her. I think she has a blog, she has a YouTube channel and a TPT shop. Like there's so many people. Who else do I like? That music teacher has some fun activities, and he has a whole like blog and everything. Make Movements Matter Music Ed. Oh my gosh, he's great. He has a ton of resources, does lots of videos and stuff like that. And let's see, Music Teacher Coffee Talk has a lot. Miss Miracle. Yeah, there's a lot out there. And so if you you can go on a whole tangent, but find some people and use their things. You don't have to do anything by yourself. All right, last question for today is going to be this one from Rachel Fred, maybe. Best classroom management ideas for teachers on a cart. So when I was on a cart I have been on a cart many times, but when I was on a cart specifically, like every single week when we were hybrid teaching, which was the worst. What I did for classroom management was, number one, I always started class the same way, and I still do this today. And to me, it kind of gets kids in like music mode when you start class the same way. So with the younger kids, we do stretches. We always do the same stretches. We do some stretches. We sing our welcome song. We sing hello. So I sing hello everyone, and they sing hello Miss Davis, and then I sing hello Nyla, who's my dog, and Nyla sings hello Miss Davis, and I pick like usually 5 kids to do that, and then we say our I can statement, and then we do a movement activity. With my older kids, we do our stretches, we do our I can statement, and then we do a movement activity. And having those routines is even more important when you're in the classrooms, because the kids are already not transitioning from their room to your room. So they don't have that transition time. They also don't have like the physical space to associate you with. So like when my kids come to the music room, they know how to act in the music room, versus when you go to their classrooms, they're kind of like, do I do what I do in my classroom all the time? Do I do what Miss Davis says? Like it's like a weird vibe, which if you're doing it every week, then that will help because at least it's consistent. But starting out the same way every single week is going to make the biggest difference. Number 2 is have your own classroom management system. You should not be relying on the teacher for that. Have your own thing. And so for me, like I do teacher versus student points. When I was traveling on a cart, I would have a little, actually it was just a binder that I would open up backwards, and it had page protectors with teacher versus student, and we would get our points that way. We did week-long lessons, so we would add up points throughout the week, and then on Friday, your points minus my points would get you minutes of game time on Friday. And so I would do that because I could carry it around with me on my cart, which made life really easy. And then also just really using the space as much as you can. So if they have a carpet, have everyone come to the carpet. Especially when you first get in there, if you can like move them physically, that's going to help a lot with getting them, to kind of figure out what's up, especially because you're not in control of what the classroom looks like. And so you're at a disadvantage in that way. Like you can't control that. You can't control how everyone's sitting and that kind of stuff. And I totally understand that really sucks. But that's my best suggestion, is just make sure that you start class the same way every day. Use whatever physical space you can to, kind of get them into music mode, kind of get them transitioned a little bit, and have your own classroom management system that is portable that you can take with you. So those would be my suggestions for that. If you have a question, secrets, I'm really bad at reading the comments because your girl has a lot of stuff going on and does not have a lot of time. And so unfortunately, comments have been the thing that have fallen through the crack, and I'm really terrible at them. But if you do have a question, you can send it to me on Instagram. I'm much more likely to respond over there. It's at Becca's Music Room. Send me a DM and I will probably be able to respond. Sometimes Instagram likes to hide messages from me, which is very annoying, but hopefully I'll be able to see it and we'll be all good. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one. Bye.